The Skol chant ringing in the rafters at US Bank Stadium, a welcome sound after a season unlike any other. Welcome into US Bank Training Camp Live. I'm Tatum Everett. The Vikings took camp on the road, holding a team practice in front of the home crowd. Coming up on the show, we'll hear from Peterson, his first US Bank experience in the purple and gold. Plus, we'll talk cornerbacks and that position battle that's been heating up all camp long. But first, let's get to the action. Check out those highlights from US Bank Stadium earlier today. We pick things up with some 7-on-7 action. Jake Browning at quarterback sends the ball down the field to Dan Chisena, who shakes off Mackenzie Alexander for the touchdown, a huge play of the day. Here's Browning with the handoff to a rookie, Kene Nwangu, who is trying to make a good case for himself in that running back room. He showed off his speed today. And then here's a scramble by Browning, but DJ Wanham makes the play of the day with a pick six. Browning there, though, trying to get Wanham out of bounds, but that was such a major play to get the crowd off their feet. Finally, let's check out this catch by Blake Prohl. A toe drag to the sidelines. Kirk Cousins says it's a fair catch. We'll let the refs decide during the regular season. But we had a little bit of fun with special teams today as well. It was great to see Riley Peterson out there. He boots a 47-yarder to close out these highlights and end the day out at US Bank Stadium. It may be just a taste of what Sundays at US Bank Stadium will be like, but consider veteran cornerback Peterson impressed. But he's going to have to change his game up a little. He spoke to the media after practice today about how he's not going to wear a visor anymore after playing in these lights.
What can you really get from this? Is it getting adjusted to the stadium? What do you really take away?
Definitely getting adjusted to the stadium. Like I said, got to get used to the balls coming out of the lights, because when you're outside, you can kind of find the ball a little bit faster. So I already know right now I am not wearing a visor during the season, because I could not find the ball all day today. But for the most part, getting used to the footing out here with the turf and things like that. So everything went well. Can't wait to get it going Saturday when it's kind of counts for something.
Now with you and Rashad and Mackenzie getting some reps together now, how do you feel like the communication and the group's coming together?
Well, the communication's coming along well. X and Hitman is kind of like the vocal piece of the secondary, kind of get everybody lined up. And it's almost like, we've been out there with each other almost years, the way we're able to communicate with one another before things happen, the way we're able to literally look at each other and knowing that, Xavier can take the over, I can replace him over the top. It just goes with, obviously, playing the game, having that experience, and also having that with X and Hitman being in the defense and knows how to command a defense and also know how to communicate. It makes our job that much easier.
We'll dive into the cornerback position battle in just a minute, but I'd like to welcome into the show Vikings team reporter Eric Smith, who's been here alongside me all day. This is my first US Bank experience, as it was for a lot of the rookies. Not for you, though. You're a vet around here. So from your perspective, what was it like to have fans back here today?
It was incredible. It was awesome to see, especially after last year, obviously no fans in the stands. And the stadium wasn't as full as it's going to be for the preseason or even in week 3 against Seattle. But just the smattering of fans that was here today was incredible to see. They were doing the Skol chant, before practice started. They got fired up for big plays. It just kind of gave you a taste of what the season will be like, and I can't wait.
I loved what Adam Thielen said after practice, too. He said, you don't need a cup of coffee this morning when you got fans that show up and make noise the way they did. Now, one player that we noticed had a great day, also probably maybe have had a coffee the way he was playing around the field, was DJ Wanham, who has made some noise this camp. He had probably arguably had the best highlight of the day.
He did, yeah. So DJ Wanham had a pick six today, and he did it in a role that is a little bit new to him here in the NFL, but not really new to him as a player. So DJ Wanham obviously is a defensive end who has played, sparingly, I guess, as a rookie, but he has kind of dropped into coverage more this season as we've seen in training camp, and he did that today, and he had a pick six. He picked off Jake Browning, and And I think it was a 31-yard pick six, and it was good to see. It just shows his versatility and his coverage skills, and yeah, it was certainly the play of the day.
And as we spoke about last show, he is vying for a starting position opposite Danielle Hunter. You mentioned Jake Browning. Despite the pick six, he is having another person who's having a solid camp. What did you like from Jake Browning today?
I've liked Browning play kind of throughout camp, and not just today. I know he had a pick six. But other than that, he was probably the quarterback today who had the most chunk plays and really moved the team down the field in the air. He had a 60-yard touchdown pass to Dan Chazena in 7-on-7 that was probably the offensive highlight of the day. And with the second team, he had I think a 20-yard pass to Chazena and about a 35-yard pass to Watt Fillier. So Browning was moving the ball down the field through the air today. That's what the team wants to see. You know, he's really grown, I think, as a leader in the last week, just with his command and his presence in the huddle. The team has liked his leadership ability. So another good day for him.
Yeah, in the NFL, it's all about opportunities and seizing when you get that opportunity, which is what Browning has done all camp. Moving to another part of the team, those special teams. We haven't seen too much of them at practice. We've seen, here and there, but it was great to see Greg Joseph and Riley Peterson in their element out here on the field. And tell us, what did you observe from them today?
Both guys made both their kicks, so that's always a positive. And for Peterson, I think it was especially a big day for him because, he's been on the PUP list the last week. He came off on Thursday, which means he can actually practice, which means he can actually engage in this kicking competition. It hasn't really been a competition yet because he hasn't practiced. But both guys made their kicks. Peterson had a long, I think, of 49 yards. Joseph made both of his. I think in camp so far, he's 20 of 26, which is a pretty, respectable percentage. But now the kicking competition really takes off. Now that we have two kickers who are healthy, who are active, we can see how they do. Today was a good start. It was also a busy day for the kickoff and punt returners. KJ Osborne, Amir Abdullah, and Kene Wangu were kind of featured in those roles. So Zimmer said that it was going to be a heavy day of special teams here, and he was right. But they look good. They look good, and that's good to see as we head into the final week of camp.
It's crazy to think that we are in the final stretch of training camp. We've got one more week. So let's dive into one of the position battles. We heard from Patrick Peterson at the top of the show. Let's talk cornerbacks. Who is most likely to start alongside PP7?
Well, he will be one of the starters for sure. You don't bring in a 10-year veteran and don't have him start. And he's looked good so far in camp. The battle for the second starter, per se, is probably between Cameron Dantzler and Bashad Breeland. And that's a good battle to have because Breeland has started almost 100 games in his career, and Dantzler has looked sharp this camp, even as just a second-year player. He got a lot of valuable experience a year ago, and he has actually probably gotten better this offseason and has turned a corner. Mackenzie Alexander, I'm going to count him as a starter as the nickel cornerback, and that's a good role for him to have. He's probably a top 5 nickel cornerback in the league. He knows the defense. He knows Coach Zimmer. He's going to be fine at nickel. So probably those 4 are going to be the top 4 corners, but there's certainly some depth behind them, and it's young guys, but they're certainly progressing as well.
Thank you so much to Vikings team reporter Eric Smith for your insight. As always, you can always go to Vikings.com to check out his work. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the time. Before we go, several chances for fans to catch the Vikings during the final week of training camp. We'll have a training camp live show after Monday's practice, and then the Broncos roll in Wednesday and Thursday with shows following those days as well. And this is all before the big preseason game against Denver a week from today. Thank you so much for watching US Bank Vikings Training Camp Live here from US Bank Stadium. I'm Tatum Everett. Be sure to follow Vikings.com for all the latest info, and Skol Vikes.